Going to give you a 30-second, 30-year tour of CERES, just to get us started. CERES is in Brunswick East on the Merry Creek, as you can see there. The last, 50, 60,000 years looks something like that. John Batman came 1835, wanted to run a few sheep, signed Australia's first treaty with Aboriginals. It was sort of passed over by the governor of the day as just a bit of a shonky land deal. The land did come to us, and this is what we did with it around where we are at CERES. We took out the bluestone, we turned it into a tip, and we capped it, and then we sort of, put our resources, old bits of concrete and things like that on it, and sort of forgot about it. Until 1982, a group of ratbags, environmental teachers, wannabe city farmers, I guess what Paul Hawken would have called the other day the world's immune system, turned up and said, let's do something with this place that no one wants, with high tension power lines over it. 30 years later, CERES has 400,000 visitors a year. Last year we celebrated our 1,000,000th school child coming to do a lesson on water or energy or food, where their food comes from. There's about 20 different little enterprises, many of them based around food retail, food growing, or education around food. And there's 180 people employed. We're sort of one of Moreland's bigger employers now. I want to go back to those people who are the inoculants of the world, the immune system of the world. They are our power. Those people who recognise that losing the land on the edge of the city, that small farming communities, that local food was really important enough to spend a few more dollars, starting as a small group doing food co-ops around our community. They have been our power and are our growing power. We started a small volunteer-run market 10 years ago, and that grew to be, a largish enterprise for us, turning over, over $1 million a year in organic fruit and veg. People wanted to buy from us wholesale and turn their own little co-ops into organic co-ops around our neighbourhood, and we started supplying them. And Fair Food grew out of that growing awareness of that people. Price wasn't the only factor around food. There were other issues about it, and there were ethical and environmental drivers. So this is how Fair Food works. It's very similar and inspired by Robert Peakin's Food Connect up in Brisbane, and it goes something like: you get on the web, you order one of 7 boxes and a bunch of different extra sort of things. We're doing, hopefully this week, we're going to break the 700 boxes barrier for the first time. We go to the wholesale market and direct to about 50 farmers and producers, and pick up the food that people have ordered and paid for. We pay the farmers straight away. It comes back to our warehouse. Just like any kind of warehouse, we have a packing line, but we employ people who would have had a hard time getting a job in the mainstream. People like Samaya here, who comes from South Sudan, people like Matisse, who comes from Sri Lanka. Their English when they turned up wasn't too flash, but they're really hard workers. Matisse was going to take over our floor management this year. And, I was just helping him with his forklift license the other day. It's very hard to, teach someone as a second language, how to speak about forklift attachments in plain language. But these are the people. We have 50 food hosts. These are our strongest resource, in terms of these are our distributors, our points, someone's veranda basically, and someone's passion to have 20 boxes of food dropped off once a week on their veranda for people to pick up in a window of 3 to 4 hours. It's similar to the scheme that Anna was talking about that they're doing in Milan. And we're gradually getting, sort of building this 20-kilometre radius around us and filling in the west now, and we're sort of coming out the east and gradually getting bigger and bigger as more and more people go, yeah, I'll put boxes on my veranda. They get a bit of a discount, and and also it's a feeling of, I would like to do something practical. I've got a veranda. I want to meet people in my neighbourhood. And when you go and pick up your food box each week, you might meet someone who's picking up their food box at that same time and go, hey, oh, right, you live there, you've got kids, so I've got kids. Do your kids want to play with my kids? Would you like to save Coburg swimming pool? Oh, yeah, let's do that. These things have happened. There they are. So these are stolen pictures. If that's your family or your veranda, I apologise. People pick up their boxes from a veranda, take it home. You've seen it. That's the circle. It's allowed us, that power of 700 boxes a week has meant that we can leverage our own farm. There's our 2.5 acre Harding Street garden down in Coburg, a remnant market garden in the middle of the city. We employ two farmers full-time down there to produce lettuce, herbs, fast-growing, intensively grown stuff that we can put into boxes. We have other, interesting and, sort of formerly marginal sort of activities in the city that are now becoming employers for people. The Urban Honey Coast was a beekeeper who wanted to put bees in the city. No one would talk to him. We gave him a site, and now he started a company, training courses. The Rooftop Honey Co. were boys that he had trained in one of his courses, and so there's this local honey movement spreading around Melbourne. We just supply them an outlet. We dabbled in mushrooms for a few years until the neighbours complained. And now we have Steve, who's here. We're getting into aquaponics as a way of intensively producing food in the city using very little water, and demonstrating a way that you can do this. And all the food that's going to come from there will go through our boxes. And hopefully the 500 heads of lettuce or herbs each week that will come out of there will eventually go through us exclusively, which will be great. And all this is our way. I guess you could call us, we provide opportunities for these, this immune system to grow strength, and we can inoculate it around other parts of the city as other people come, and we give them the good bacteria of urban agriculture to take back and spawn in their own communities. But Fair Food, unlike those things, is not just a demonstration project. This is Steve's dream for the future when we put all these things together in a food hub. One of the things that Fair Food is able to do is have a really strong impact on the organic supply chain. We're one of the largest buyers of organic food in Victoria, and the 10 tonnes of food that we buy each week really make a difference to a lot of growers. We buy that food direct, and more so every week, and it makes a difference because if you're going through the wholesale market, the wholesalers these days, like everyone else, need to improve their profit margin. Formerly, they might have been taking 15 to 20%. Now there's a real pressure on them because of employment costs and all the other costs of business for them to want more like 50% or more. And that's a real, when you're just making it as a grower, if you have to take that price cut, because the growers will take the price cut so the next layer of distribution can make that money, that's the difference between sustainable and not. So what we do is we say to the grower, we'll pay you the price, the wholesale price that we'd pay the wholesaler. So you get that whole margin, that margin that the wholesaler would take off. And that's great. That's the difference between shutting up shop or staying in business. And we're happy to do that. We'd get that price anyway if we bought from the wholesaler. And it's meant that these little farms that you can see, this is the range of our farmers. There's a few not there on that map, but you can see they're largely dotted around the city and in that sort of, down the Mornington, out into the hills, just north of us, and they supply, a great deal of our food. And we want to keep them there. And giving them that price means that they can, they're going to stand more chance of staying there. This is Shelley and Craig Heppel. who are out in Cockatoo, and they grow greens and corn, and Shelley turned up on her way to uni yesterday with a van load of produce. We'll spend, $800 to $1,000 with them. And what we want to do with them is be able to buy with them for the whole season, so that we're not just going, we'll buy from this farmer this week and this farmer that week and jump around and go, leave them with a crop one week and not with another crop. We want to give them certainty. We buy in bins or recycled packaging so that they don't have to spend $2 a box and spend all their money on packaging that's going to get wasted. We encourage them to share transport. Shelley and Craig are coming to us every week. A very small garlic grower is just down the road. He drops his garlic with them. They bring it in. Takes one vehicle off the road and means that small starting up garlic grower doesn't have to spend half a day driving in and out of town just to make a few dollars. We talk with Shelley and Craig over the winter about what they're going to plant in spring, so that they can go, okay, we know how much we need to expand our farm, we know what to plant, we know what you're going to buy, and that stuff's guaranteed, locked up, no risk. There's nothing worse, and it breaks my heart to see the amount of food waste. And if you've ever heard Russell from Second Bite talking, the amount of food waste of stuff that just goes to market and then doesn't go anywhere else is criminal. So for them to have certainty of going, I know this lot of corn is going to go and be bought, that's huge, and that certainty means a lot. And marketing, I guess that's our thing. We are marketers, we're distributors, and our ability to tell more people, to have a really strong, simple website and connect people to the story, to these guys' stories through our website, videos, social media, farm visits, long table dinners, all those sort of things that mean people can go, hey, I feel a part of this. This is, like Milan, these are our farms. These are Melbourne's farms, that's where we see our role is, and why we've strongly invested, more so than any part of our organisation in a full-time marketing person. More money, lots of money, as much money as we can throw at our website. We want to build these tools for communication and for easy, easy way for you to buy a box off a farmer and know where it's come from. So that's the guts of Fair Food. And before you started dancing, so hey. I think we're probably over 50% of our stuff's bought direct, and we'd like to see it, push above 80% of our produce direct bought, rather than going through agents. I think there's definitely a role for agents, and don't get me wrong, they have been good friends of ours. I've noticed over the last 10 years, it seemed to be this very static group of farmers out there in terms of organics, but noticed more in the last 5 years, lots of, and younger people starting up farms and little ventures and CSAs, and we're really, it gives us great joy to be able to support someone who all we're doing is buying a few bags of garlic from them, or a few berries or things like that gives them their start. And helps them, just nurture them through that first season, and also connect them with someone who can transport their stuff in, and have noticed those numbers are growing. I think we're so far apart, you sort of, I think that's between medium-sized and... I think a small grower, when you're a micro or a small grower, it's not even I don't think you even think you'd even get in there. You've got to be like bigger medium to be considering it, and then large to realistically do it. So I think we operate in a whole different world. There's a few larger organic growers who are in that sort of realm with supermarket stuff, and yeah, it's a constant. There's a lot of bitching and moaning and dissatisfaction with. They're just like they're pushing the prices down of organics just like everyone else, just like all the other conventional farmers.